Hey, what's up? This is AJ, and today I got a very special video for you. This video is on how to overcome your limiting beliefs. Before I go into the theory that I have on my board here, I just want to ask you for 2 seconds, just run down, just minimize the video, go to the like part and just click the like button, click subscribe, click the bell icon because it really helps the channel. I am so grateful for every single one of you that have been liking and commenting and just engaging with the channel. The channel has seen unprecedented growth. In fact, we've reached 20,000 views altogether on the channel. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for this. I love you guys. I just hope you keep on growing. I hope you keep on watching and engaging so that we can take you from where you are to the place you've always wanted to be. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So, what is a limiting belief? A lot of us hear these weird terms, limiting belief, validation, but we don't really get into the root of it, okay? And I always say, before you understand how, you have to understand why, and before you understand why, you have to understand what, okay? If you caught that, you caught that. So anyway, a limiting belief is a conviction or a notion that you believe to be true, all right? Any belief that you believe without a reasonable doubt to be true, that holds you back from becoming the best version of you. Your limiting beliefs are things or beliefs or values or morals. Okay, I wouldn't call them morals, more like assumptions that hold you back from pursuing or from continuing the journey to self-mastery, to becoming the best version of you. This goes against every single belief that the BUB Cool member has. A limiting belief is something you should overcome, not something you should be subjected under. So without further ado, let's crack into what are the examples of limiting beliefs and if you have some of them. So the first example I have for you is, if you've ever thought this before, make sure you listen up. If it just came to you unconsciously, if it just popped up in your head and then went away, you still have to focus because that is a sign of having a limiting belief. I can't do ... because I am not ... enough. I can't go and meet new people. I'm not interesting enough. I can't make more money. I'm not hardworking enough. I do not deserve my position because I am not like Thomas, I am not like Jake, I am not like this person enough. You have to understand this is a sign when you're constantly self-deprecating yourself, when you're constantly giving yourself less credit for something that you achieved, something that you fought and you worked hard to get. That, my friend, is a sign that you are heading towards limiting belief city. You have to understand that this is the number one thing that you have to destroy in order to reach that level, that pandemonium level of just being, that self-mastery that Robert Greene talks about, or that level of enlightenment that Eckhart Tolle speaks about in his book, The Power of Now, or that level where you're just an efficient person, as Stephen Covey says in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Efficient People. You have to understand that limiting beliefs are the reason why you're being kept back in your growth. Now, I'm not really sure if you can see this because it's like pretty low on the whole video, but these are some of the reasons why limiting beliefs are bad. Number one, it is not factually true. You can do anything you put your mind to. Let me tell you again, you can do any single thing that you put your mind to. You know why? Because the human brain is flexible. Your brain can stagnate as fast as you can accelerate. This means if you go and you read books and you work on yourself, you meditate, you focus on how to clean up your mental, you stay off social media at least for a bit, you take breaks, you meet new people, you're sharing your social skills, you're just growing as a BUB Cool person. Your brain is becoming a mold. This means that every single thing you do as you grow up will shape the person you become. As I always say, life is made out of decisions and choices. You can wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm gonna wake up and go directly on social media, distract myself, or start the day on a negative downward spiral, or I can choose to stand up and do stretches. Then I'm gonna go downstairs and have a healthy meal to start the day out. Then I'm gonna meditate. Then I'm gonna read the Bible. Then I'm gonna do pull-ups and sit-ups. Then I'm gonna, you building up a person that is different from the other choice that you had for that day. So when I say you can do anything that you put your mind to, I mean there is no skill, there is no activity that if you put a little bit of effort, you won't be able to do. If you want to learn how to dance, you can learn how to dance. You can't say, I can't become a great singer because I am not good enough at singing or I don't have enough practice. There are always vocal coaches, even on YouTube. Just go on Google or go on YouTube and search how to sing. You will get hours and hours, thousands of hours of content from professionals teaching you how to become a singer. There are no limiting beliefs. There's no such thing as a limiting belief. That is just your interpretation. I had a friend of mine, and this doesn't relate to the point I was just telling you about, but this relates to limiting beliefs in general. He was a very vertically challenged person, meaning he was short. He was like really short. Like he was like very, very short. Like, you know, for short people out there, you know the type of short where they mistake your age, you know, like, you know, you go to the restaurant and they give you the kiddies menu. Yeah, that was the type of short he was. And he was dead set. He's 17 or 18 now. He was dead set at the fact that he could not get a girlfriend because of his height. Not because of anything else, but just because of his height. And he told me this. He was like, AJ, bro, I can't get a girlfriend. I really want to get this girl, but I'm too short. Girls only like tall, 6'4" muscular guys. And I'm like, my friend, dude, that is not a factual truth. You know why? Because women like anything, all right? There are different girls for different people out there. All right, and this is for everybody. There are different personalities out there. Just because the mainstream media tells you they want a skinny model-looking girl, men like skinny model-looking women, that is not exactly true. Just because mass media tells you women want 6'4", alpha male, hairy, dominant guys, that is not true. All right. So in his case, I told him, yo, bro, even if you got a girl that only likes tall guys, would you be happy with that girl? Would you really express yourself? Will you be vulnerable with her? Will you grow with her? Will you go with in front of her to your parents, in front of God? Will you go with this girl? No, because she only likes you for something that you can't control, your height. But if you can turn it towards, instead of looking for people that will tolerate me or tolerate my height, let me look for people that I can be with that will love me for who I am, even if I'm short, even if I'm fat, even if I'm not that attractive, even if I'm not that smart. Who will love me for who I am? Second point, a simple excuse not to take action. Having a limiting belief is an excuse to not take action. You know why? Because when you are an action taker, excuses become nothing to you. They become clouds. Because action takers, risk takers, people that execute, people that become successful in life get over their comfort zone, get over their fears and their limiting beliefs, and they just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. I love Nike because they just have that impact, that athlete's impact. So just do it. Number 2. A simple excuse not to take action. Limiting beliefs has become an excuse for people not to take action. You are too scared, like my friend before, to go up to your crush and talk to them. You want to get into a relationship with them, but you're just too insecure about your height. You're too insecure about your weight. That is wrong because you're not taking action. You, as I said before in my last video, you're literally missing every single shot you don't take. You're too scared to go out and meet investors. You're too scared to go up in front of a crowd because your limiting beliefs are giving you this false sense of safety. It's an excuse. It is not something that is real. It is not a real reason to give up on yourself. Remember, when you take an excuse, when you fall back because of fear, you are giving up not on what you are doing. You're giving up not on who you was voting for you or your parents or your friends, whoever was on your side. You're giving up on yourself. Every time you say, I can't do this, every time you say my limiting beliefs are too strong, I'm not able to do something that will actually help me, you are giving up. You're quitting on yourself, and your future self will not thank you. Number 3, it creates a comfort zone, a false comfort zone. So the idea of comfort zone goes like this. The more things you do, the higher or the bigger your comfort zone becomes. As a BUB Cool member, we are constantly expanding our comfort zone. Let me draw it up for you. All right. So this is the idea of the comfort zone. So the CZ zone, as I call it, starts out like this. This is you as a child. This is little AJ, all right? And when I start out life, all I know is my parents, my friends, my environment, maybe my school, my teachers, but I have a very small comfort zone, all right? Then I grow up, I become a teenager or I become a tween or a young ages maybe 12, 13, a tween, all right? And my comfort zone becomes a bit bigger. It expands maybe more than my parents, more than my surroundings, my immediate surroundings, but it's still quite small. We're still growing up. Then I hit my teens and my comfort zone becomes larger, you know? Maybe I want to meet people, you know? Maybe I want to go out to parties, all right? Maybe I want to go out with my friends. Maybe I want to do some crazy things, you know? It's normal, all right? But your comfort zone becomes bigger. Then what happens is, I'm just going to erase this part. You become a young adult. Now you have to fend for yourself in this world. Maybe you go to university. You fend for yourself. You have to meet new people. You have to do your, the scariest part of just growing up for me is not even like the taxes or the money things. It is the fact I have to go call the doctor if I'm sick myself and book an appointment. What? I don't have my mom to do that for me? Anyway, back to what I was saying. So you grow up, you're a young adult. Now your comfort zone is bigger. Now something that many people do is if they get to this crucial stage where they have to grow up, where they're fending for themselves and they don't grow, they don't become better, they don't keep on expanding their comfort zone, getting more experience, meeting more people, they end up shrinking their comfort zone. Then instead of your parents and your school, it becomes less and less. It becomes maybe your partner, maybe your workplace. It becomes smaller and smaller each day. Just each day it's becoming smaller and smaller. The BUB Cool member, the BUB Cool member always is expanding their comfort zone. What do I mean? If you have the fear of going in front of 1,000 people and you go up in front of 1,000 people, your previous fear or your previous comfort zone or your previous boundary of what you were accepted or what you were happy to do and what you're too scared to do becomes bigger. That comfort zone or that circle becomes a little bit bigger. Then let's say you go in front of 1 million people on live. Your comfort zone becomes a bit bigger. Maybe you meet the president. Your comfort zone becomes bigger. Now, I'm not saying these are the huge things that make you. It can be as small as talking to a stranger on the street, someone you find attractive. Maybe it could be talking to. I actually was at WWE. I'm not sure if you know. I had a couple photos a couple years ago, and I think it was Seth Rollins that walked up in front of our family, and I was too scared to even, touch him or talk, Seth Rollins, but I was too scared to do it because I felt like he would be like, what? Did AJ just speak? Get him out of here. And I was scared, really. I was scared of saying, hey, what's up? So once I actually did that, such a small step, I felt more comfortable in front of celebrities. But anyway, that's a weird story. Back to what I was saying, your comfort zone expands. So now when you use limiting beliefs, when you use the excuse, as we said before, of limiting beliefs, you are constantly making that circle smaller and smaller until you just become that person that doesn't expand. Nobody wants that person that is constantly scared to do everything, is living under fear. We as the BUB Cool members, we don't live under fear. We don't submit to fear. We go above fear. So without further ado, let's crack into the causes of limiting beliefs. So the number one cause of limiting beliefs, and don't take this the wrong way, don't say this is something bad, your parents should never have taught you this, but is family and caretakers. Your environment as you grow up is probably one of the most important factors, considering everything else, into what you become. It's one of the most important things. If you're a parent out there, make sure to teach your child, to grow with your child. If they have problems, don't just shout at them and beat them up. Talk to them. These things, you might think, hey, they're just a kid, then they forget. I'm sorry, I keep on hitting my mic. Just a kid, they forget. but they grow up with these scars, or maybe they grow up with these heavy clouds of darkness because of how they grew up. Many people are suffering our day, especially teenagers my age, young people. They're suffering because they feel like they can't express themselves. They feel like they can't be themselves, and they turn to drugs, they turn to sex, they turn to alcohol in order to soothe that feeling, that yearning for love. So, back to family and caretakers. Your parents taught you certain morals and principles that shaped your worldview. So, a good example would be if your parents told you that authority and any figure of authority is always correct, and you should never, ever, ever, under no circumstances, go against the authority put against you or put above you, then you won't be able to see when authority is being abused. Maybe you're somebody that is being taken advantage of because of this person coming from a place of authority. All right, I've had people that have emailed me on my website. You should actually go and check out my website. I'll put it down in the description. That have emailed me on my website telling me that they've been through sexual abuse, right, from people that are above them, like bosses, like teachers, people you should care about, people that are authority figures, because they were taught that they should never, ever, ever, ever go against what authority has told you to do. All right, they should never, ever, ever go against what they've been told to do. And this, my friend, is bad, because you won't be able to see when authority is being abused, as I said before, and you might just accept it. You might just go under that person because you honestly believe their authority is good, but it's not. Another example that I see a lot of the time, and I battled with this, and it's something that is so prevalent, is conflict. Your parents, most probably, like 99.9% of the time, your parents teach you that conflict is bad. Any form of conflict is bad and you should cut it out. Now, that is true to an extent, because you will grow up living in situations where you actively avoid speaking up, you actively avoid standing up for yourself, because you feel like that will cause conflict, and you can't have conflict. You're scared of conflict. Sometimes, and I'm going to say this, sometimes conflict is needed. When I say conflict is needed, I mean sometimes you have to just pull up your shoes or your belt, whatever people say these days, pull up your socks and stand up for yourself because you have something you believe in. Moses stood up to Pharaoh. If Moses was scared of conflict, where would we be? If Nelson Mandela was scared of conflict, where would we be? Every single successful person at one point or another had to stand up for themselves. They had to become the best version of them, but they also had to stand up for what they believe in. If you're scared of, or if you have the limiting belief of being scared of conflict, for example, this is just an example, all right, there are so many out there, you will end up in relationships where you can't talk to your partner. If they did something that hurt you, that offended you, you'll get into unhealthy, toxic relationships just because you can't sit down and talk to them. You're scared of losing them. You're scared of conflict. You're scared of fighting. And sometimes these things don't even have to be verbalized by your parents, all right? Like, I'm moving on to what I was saying before. Sometimes these things don't even have to be verbalized, these morals and principles. Sometimes it's just something they do. A lot of people have parents that end up fighting. They have dysfunctional relationships, and they watch these things in their mind. Now they believe that in relationships, in order to work, there should be a lot of drama. There should be a lot of fighting. These are the people that end up in toxic, abusive relationships. This is just a side note. All right, so the second thing, or the last cause of limiting beliefs, is past trauma / past experiences. So as humans, we are prone to being scientists. What do I mean? We do something, we do an action, we do something that will cause a reaction to happen. We'll, for instance, as a child, go back to when you were a child, they told you don't put your hand on the stove, but you decided, hey, let me put my hand on the stove, and you burnt yourself, and it hurt. So obviously you're not going to do it again because you have it in your mind. You made a conclusion. So this is what we do. We make a decision that leads to an action. That action gives us a conclusion that we base our lives on. How this affects you in general is that conclusion that you made at the end, after going through the decision, then the action, then the conclusion. The conclusion that you made at the end becomes something that controls your life. Now don't think control as maybe I shouldn't have used control. It becomes something that paints the way you see the world. So something that a lot of people go through is heartbreak. That's something we can all talk about, right? There are a lot of friends of mine that can, if I call up a couple friends of mine, they'll tell you thousands and thousands of hours of heartbreak stories, and it's so sad. But what happens is you may love somebody, you may love them so much, a lot of us have our teenage love. That young love, and then they just break your heart. Maybe they cheat on you, maybe they're abusive or whatever, right? This leads to heartbreak. So you equate falling in love, or you make falling in love equal heartbreak. And this means you will be reluctant. You wouldn't want to fall in love again, all right? Because you think that it will lead to heartbreak. And this will obviously mean unhealthy relationships, maybe toxic relationships. Maybe you can't be vulnerable around that person because you've gone through heartbreak. I've spoken to you about one of my friends that he got his heart broken by a girl who cheated on him, and he became a player. He just started going from girl to girl, and he lacks that vulnerability. I mean, now he's way better because he's friends with me. I mean, I wouldn't allow those people in my circle, but he became way better. He's successful. He's pushing himself because he decided not to let that heartbreak equals never fall in love equation into him again. He decided to break it there. So how this applies to you is, I want you to focus on how you can overcome your limiting belief. And this is just in conclusion. Focus on how you can stop your limiting beliefs from running your life. I mean, we live in a world where so many opportunities come to your face each day. But will you take them? Well, this was AJ Lacal. Thank you very much for watching this video. I thank you for your time. If you don't mind, just go down to the link of the description. I have my website there, and this is very important. If you want to speak directly to me, just go down to my website, and there'll be a contact us page, and there'll be a process for you to speak directly to me over email. So if you're interested in that type of thing, if you have any questions, any comments, go down to the description. And I have another question for my viewers out there. So this is the question of the day. Would you rather have somebody who's beautiful but dumb, or somebody that is smart but really ugly? So yeah, without further ado, just go to the description and tell me your answer. Personally, I don't care. They can be dumb and ugly, all right? I don't care, as long as I love them. But yeah, just tell me your opinion, add to the conversation, and thank you for watching this video.